What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Among the Fence. I hope you're all having a great day. I know I am, especially after listening to this album, because it is superb with a capital P, because it is perfect. God, that was dumb. Today I'm going to be talking about the album Sea of Tragic Beasts by the band Fit for an Autopsy. Fit for an Autopsy is a deathcore, death metal band from New Jersey, and they started around 2008, give or take. When it comes to Fit for an Autopsy, I've always enjoyed their music, but for some reason I just couldn't really get into them. Like, some of their older stuff, I'd listen to a song here or there, and that was about it. I kind of forget about them every once in a while, or I try to get more into them, and after about two songs, it just kind of falls off for me, and I go listen to something else instead. And that probably has a lot to do with the fact that deathcore isn't really a genre that I tend to navigate towards nearly as much as metalcore, death metal, or just metal in general. But a lot of the groups that I'm on Facebook and Reddit, where we just talk about music all day, have been raving about this album, about how much they love it. And a lot of these guys like the same kind of music that I like. So I've been pretty excited to dive into this one. I might as well just come right out and say it like I didn't already. But I really enjoyed this album. Almost every single second of it for me was absolutely amazing. And the intro song to this album is the title track, Sea of Tragic Beasts. And it absolutely just blew me away right out the gate. And it starts out with this just sick, heavy opening riff that just screams deathcore. And then the vocals come in and they just grab you as it screams "Fall in the Fire with Me." It's the perfect opening to this album. It's amazing. And the choruses have this clean singing mixed with some distorted vocals, and it's really chanty, and it's kind of cool the way how there's just such a big contrast from the vocals and the verses and the vocals and the chorus. It works really well together, even though I didn't really think it would. And the lyrics in the verses are just so engulfing, mixed with the guitar passages, the amazing drum work, the heavy riffs, all at the same time. It's just so captivating. My favorite song on the album, Your Pain Is Mine, came off kind of emotional for me throughout some parts of the songs. I don't want to sound lame, but man, this thing gave me goosebumps. And the lyrics in this song, again, are fantastic, especially like the clean vocals during the bridge and the lyrics during the bridge. They just keep rolling and it consumes you, and you just can't wait to see where it's going to go next. And then that's one of the parts where I got goosebumps. I was just completely blown away by the song, and I listened to it twice, and even the second time it's just a fantastic song. So like 16, 17 years ago, when I very first started to play guitar, I bought this book by Joe Satriani that has all this musical theory stuff. It's got tabs, different lessons that he did, all kinds of stuff in it. And one of the things that he says in the beginning is the notes you play aren't nearly as important as the notes you don't play, to the point to where the silence in between the notes can actually emphasize the notes and make the notes actually be more important. So in that sense, the silence is also important. In the song No Man Is Without Fear, they kind of use that strategy, but in the form of vocals. Halfway through the first verse on the song, the riff changes to this kind of groovy, heavy, not really melodic, but almost like a hardcore kind of riff. And then the chorus comes in, and the chorus is, again, absolutely phenomenal. But then after the chorus, that riff comes back, and there's no vocals. And it's just that riff and the drums and the bass. And it just kind of, it's not really like a breakdown, but it just gives you a second to really appreciate how phenomenal these guys are at writing music. And then all of a sudden the vocals come back in, and it just mixes so well, and it makes it so freaking epic. And it's kind of neat because the songs are constantly changing, whether it be an arpeggio or a riff comes off a different way, or the drums are different in a verse than they were from last time, or the chorus even. And when the vocals cut out for a second at the beginning, it gives you a chance to really hear it and appreciate it for what it is. Like in the song Shepard, it starts out with this cool arpeggio that you can kind of hear behind a riff, and then it goes away, and then you just have a verse with, you know, a good riff still, and then it's got a solid pre-chorus that builds up really well to the chorus. And then when the bridge comes back around, they bring a different riff, but with that same arpeggio back, and it meshes so well together. And then on the song Mirrors, which I think I first heard on YouTube when this album first came out, but I don't really remember it all that well, so it didn't seem all that familiar unless if I see the music video. But it's got this cool, slow, kind of groovy build with drums, and then all of a sudden the vocals come in sick and guttural and really just lays it on. And then when the verse comes in, it comes in almost... And then the verse comes in, and it has that same kind of slow build feel to it, but it's twice as fast. It's like a double the speed build-up that goes into the chorus. And honestly, I can go through and I can pick out every single song on this album and tell you everything about it. That's amazing. But it would make for a very long video, but that's how much I enjoyed this album. And honestly, that's how good it is. In the second half of the album, where most bands usually lose me just because, I don't know, I don't think it's just me, but anyone gets kind of tired of hearing the same band, the same sound, same vocals, same kind of style writing. But this album doesn't really lose it for you. Even on Mourn, when it kind of slows down a little bit, it still is very captivating. It keeps you entertained. It holds your interest. It doesn't lose you for a second. And the intro and the chorus in Mourn have this clean and dirty vocal kind of duet mixture thing that kind of go together. And then the pre-chorus is really distorted. It's got good screams and amazing vocals, which I don't think I've touched on about how amazing the vocals are throughout this entire album. And then the chorus comes in clean, and it kind of takes away from the whole cliche thing that happens on death metal and deathcore albums, where usually there's dirty, heavy, deep, just really rough vocals throughout the verses, and then these clean or higher scream vocals throughout the choruses, and it just kind of, it's very cliche and it gets old. And this band does that on 2 songs, but it still sounds fresh and it's not tiring and it doesn't feel repetitive or dated at all. And the song Birds of Prey comes in kind of slow and haunting, which is these chords being strummed on a guitar very slow. It almost makes it kind of sound like it's chiming, or like kind of like bells in a way. It's kind of weird. And then everything kind of just stops for a second, and then the vocals and the verse and the riffs just come barging in, and all of a sudden it's all aggressive and it's in your face all over again, and it's just flows so well. And a couple of the songs do have guitar solos, which they don't really stand out to me all that much. They fit the songs well, but they're nothing to really go crazy about. But the guitar solo in Birds of Prey is beautiful. It's amazing, and it has a cool breakdown afterwards with these super deep growly vocals. The only song that I really just didn't fall in love with was, ironically, Unloved. I don't think I just cared for the subject matter in the song very much, just because I don't like sad songs that are kind of like boo-hoo, woe is me. But it also just wasn't that creative musically, and it's not to say it still wasn't absolutely great and it didn't blow me away. I mean, again, the riffs in it are phenomenal. The drum work is absolutely amazing. It's got this haunting guitar in the background in some areas. It's my least favorite song, but by no means is it bad. Even though the reason why I don't like it is because I just didn't really relate to the lyrics, they're still very emotional, they're very captivating, and they're vulnerable more than anything. And the last song on the album, Napalm Dreams, has this almost atmospheric intro, and then it comes in with this just solid bass line with these drums, and it's really cool. Just the way how they utilize all their instruments. They're not afraid to play a song differently than the last one was, and that's what I feel like, not just metal bands and all that, but I just feel like bands should put a little bit more effort in, like what these guys did. And the lyrics in the song are poetic, and it has this driving riff in the chorus, and then in the second chorus it changes and the riff becomes a little bit more complex, using more notes from the scale. It's just, they put a lot of effort into this album, and you can tell that these guys know how to write music, and they show it. And the song is a perfect ending, and it has a cool conclusion where at the end it's just kind of chanting, "All I wanted was a way out," over and over again over this breakdown, and it felt complete. It was great. As far as the deathcore album goes, this one is amazing. I don't think it could have got any better. I would give it a 10 out of 10, but as far as my personal preference, I'm going to get it a 9.5. And the only reason is because some of the subject matters, again, like I said in Unloved, just didn't really sit well with me. Like, it's not really a song I can really get into and I could sing along with, even though you can't really sing along to any of these songs all that well because the vocals are so crazy. But like in the song Your Pain Is Mine, which is my favorite song, it kind of has a little hint of egg theory to it, which I'm not really all that into either. For those of you who don't really know what egg theory is, the general concept of it is that we're all one soul. You are me, I am you. If I'm nice to you, I'm technically being nice to me. We are all one, and this is all just being experienced by one being, and this is all the same life. And like, not that that's bad or it's a bad belief, nothing against that, whatever. But I just couldn't really get into the lyrics for that reason. But that's still not to say that they didn't make me feel something. Like I said before, the song is absolutely emotional, and it gave me chills, not just from the music, but the lyrics and the vocals. It really did it for me. This song was absolutely great. I saved it, I put it on a playlist, and I will listen to it again and again. But I want to know what you guys think of this album. Have you heard it before? If so, what would you rate it? Do you disagree? Do you agree with me? If you haven't heard the album, go ahead and give it a listen and let me know what you think. And if you guys have a favorite album you want me to review, or you have an album that's coming out that you want me to check out, go ahead and leave a comment below letting me know what it is, and I'll make it happen for you. If you do leave a comment, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon so when I do come out with that video, you won't miss it. And I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next time.
I was trying